David adjusted the straps of his helmet and stepped out of the landing pod. The air on this world was thick but breathable, carrying a faint scent of sweet minerals. The sky was a pale green, and the twin suns reflected on the smooth, glass-like surface of the land. His crew stayed close behind, scanning the surroundings with handheld devices and recording every detail. This planet, named Zoroth, was thought to be uninhabited, but what they saw made their hearts race. In the distance, a city rose from the ground, shimmering with colors they could barely comprehend. The towers curved like waves frozen in time. Roads made of light connected buildings that seemed to float above the ground. There was no sound, no signs of life, but the city was alive. David felt a strange pull, as if the world itself was watching. "We should proceed carefully," he said, his voice steady despite the tension in his chest. "Keep scanners on. We don't know what we will find." His team nodded, each member silently sharing the unspoken fear and excitement. They had trained for first contact, but nothing in simulations prepared them for this. As they moved closer, David's eyes caught movement. A figure appeared on a platform at the center of the city. At first, he thought it was a hologram. The figure was tall, regal, and glowed faintly under the twin suns. Its shape was humanoid, but everything about it was elegant and alien. The figure descended toward them. As it approached, David's heart stopped. The figure was the alien queen. Her skin was a soft shade of silver, her eyes large and luminous. She did not speak, but her presence demanded attention. She stopped a few meters from David and lowered herself to her knees. The moment her eyes met his, she bowed completely. The crew froze. This was not a greeting they had studied. This was reverence, something no human had expected. David stepped forward cautiously. "Why is she kneeling?" whispered Mara, the team's linguist. Her scanner tried to pick up her language, but it was complex, layered with tones they could not yet decipher. David did not know what to say. He had explored uncharted worlds, but nothing had prepared him for this. He lowered his hands to show he meant no harm. The queen remained on her knees, her gaze fixed on him. The other aliens, previously hidden, began emerging from the city. They walked in perfect formation and stopped behind their queen. Not one of them made a sound, yet their attention was entirely on David. "Keep your distance," David said, though his voice was steady. "Let's not provoke them." He felt the weight of responsibility pressing on him. This planet, this civilization, was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. The queen's act of kneeling was not a gesture of fear. It was recognition. But recognition of what, David could not guess. The queen finally spoke, her voice melodic and powerful, though it was not words in any language he knew. His translator device struggled, then began producing broken phrases. "The returned. One," it said. David frowned. "Returned. One." He did not understand. "Returned, what?" he asked aloud. The device could not translate more. The queen looked at him with eyes that seemed to see into his soul. There was certainty in her gaze, a knowledge that he could not explain. The crew murmured among themselves. "Is she some kind of leader?" asked Rena, the engineer. "Or is this a ritual?" David shook his head. "I don't know. We need to remain calm and respectful. Any wrong move could start a conflict." He stepped closer, careful to stay within sight of his crew. The queen did not flinch. She remained kneeling, waiting. David's mind raced. He had come here to observe, to explore, and perhaps to make contact. He had not come to be treated as someone of importance. And yet, here he was. The entire alien city and its queen had focused on him as if he carried the fate of their world. The aliens around her shifted slightly. They were humanoid in shape but taller and thinner, with delicate limbs and heads shaped like elongated ovals. Their skin shimmered like the Queen's, though not as brightly. Each one looked at David with a calm intensity. None showed aggression. Some appeared curious, others cautious, but all waited silently. David raised a hand slowly. "I am David," he said. "I mean no harm. We come in peace." The Queen's lips moved, forming shapes the translator struggled to catch. Finally, it produced a phrase, "The one has returned. Your coming was expected." David's heart skipped a beat. Expected? He shook his head. This could not be real. They had no way of knowing he would arrive here. He had not seen any records or messages that mentioned him. Expected, by whom? He asked carefully. The Queen remained silent, though her gaze never left him. Her kneeling seemed not to tire her, and David noticed the stillness of the city around them. Even the air felt different, as if holding its breath. He realized the Queen's gesture was not just ceremonial. It was deliberate, meaningful. She believed something about him, though he had no idea what. Mara stepped forward slightly, holding her scanner. "Her language is complex. I think she is, acknowledging something in you. Something ancient, perhaps." David frowned. "Ancient? I'm just a researcher. I'm not special." The Queen's eyes softened, but she did not rise. She seemed to insist that he understand his role, even if he did not. David felt a strange connection, as if some unseen thread tied him to this alien world. He could not explain it, yet he felt compelled to honor their trust. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air. Light patterns ran across the city structures, forming intricate shapes. The aliens around the Queen began moving in synchronized patterns. The scene was mesmerizing, like a living painting. David's crew watched in awe. "This is incredible," whispered Rena. "It's like they are celebrating you." David swallowed hard. He had no idea why they would celebrate him, but the sense of history and destiny in the air was undeniable. He felt the weight of the moment. Humanity had reached out into the stars countless times, and yet here, on this distant world, a queen had knelt before him, acknowledging him in a way that defied all reason. He took a deep breath. "We will proceed carefully," he said to his team. "We observe, we learn, and we respect. That is our role here." The Queen's gaze seemed to approve. She remained kneeling, her silver form radiant under the twin suns. David realized that whatever lay ahead on Zoroth, he would not face it as just a human explorer. He was now part of something much larger, something that would challenge everything he knew about humanity and its place in the universe. David stood in the center of the alien city, his crew gathered around him. The city's structures shimmered in quiet patterns of light, and the hum of alien energy flowed through the ground like a heartbeat. The Queen remained kneeling before him, her silver skin glowing softly, her eyes fixed on his. Around her, hundreds of aliens watched with attention and discipline, waiting for his next move. Mara, the linguist, activated her portable translator. "I think I can understand some of what she is saying," she said. "It's difficult, but there is a sense of recognition. She calls you the returned one." David frowned. "Returned? One? I do not understand. Returned from where?" The Queen's lips moved again. The translator produced broken phrases. "From, time, promise, waiting, one who returns." The words were fragmented, but the meaning was clear enough to cause a chill to run down David's spine. Somehow, this alien civilization expected him. Somehow, his arrival was no accident. Rena, the engineer, whispered, "This is impossible. We just arrived. No signal, no message, nothing could have prepared them for us. And yet, they act as if they have been waiting for you." David nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I do not know why they expect me. I am just a human, like all of you. I do not have knowledge of their past or their future. But we have to respect them. That is the only way forward. The Queen's voice continued in its melodic tone. This time, the translator produced a longer string of words. The one who left, now returns. Your coming fulfills what was promised. Stand not as human alone, but as bridge between worlds. David felt his heart beat faster. A bridge between worlds. His mission had been simple: explore, document, and study. Now, he was being placed in a role that was far beyond anything he had trained for. And yet, a sense of purpose stirred within him. Perhaps this was why he had been chosen, why fate had led him here. The aliens around the Queen moved with precision. They began forming circles of light on the ground, patterns that radiated outward from where David stood. The display was mesmerizing. He realized that this was a form of communication, a ritual of recognition. Their actions were deliberate, and their energy seemed to resonate with his presence. Mara adjusted her translator and spoke softly. They are showing respect. But it is more than respect. They are acknowledging something in you, something they have waited for centuries to see. David lowered his gaze, feeling the weight of their eyes. I am not sure I understand. I am not their savior, or a god. I am just a human explorer. The Queen's eyes softened. Slowly, she reached out a hand, palm open, toward him. Her gesture was not threatening. It was welcoming. David stepped forward cautiously. The moment his hand hovered over hers, a faint energy pulse ran through him, warm and comforting. The feeling was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It was as if the Queen was communicating without words, sharing a bond that transcended language. The aliens behind her began to bow slightly, acknowledging the connection between David and their Queen. It was a silent recognition, a moment that confirmed what Mara had said: they saw something extraordinary in him. David's crew looked at him with amazement. I do not know how to respond, David said quietly. But I believe they trust me. And we must honor that trust. The Queen rose slightly on her knees, her form radiant under the twin suns. She did not stand fully, but the gesture was significant. She was inviting him to engage, to step further into this world of mysteries. David's curiosity overcame his fear. Tell me, he said, what do you mean by returned one? Who was I supposed to return to? The translator paused, then produced the answer: long ago, one like you came to our people. He brought knowledge, hope, and change. He promised to return when the time of need came. You are that promise. David felt his knees grow weak. He shook his head in disbelief. That cannot be. I do not even know this world. I have never been here before. I am not that person. The Queen's eyes glowed brighter, full of certainty. She pointed toward the city and spoke again. The translator produced one word repeatedly: remember, remember, remember. David's mind reeled. Remember? How could he remember something he had never experienced? Yet, deep within, he felt a pull, a sensation that he had been connected to this world in some way beyond his understanding. The feeling was faint but persistent, like a memory buried deep inside him, waiting to surface. Mara stepped closer. David, I think she believes that the connection is not just symbolic. They have records, histories, maybe they know something about humans that we do not yet understand. There could be a pattern, something that ties you to their past. David nodded slowly. He felt a strange sense of calm, despite the confusion. Then we must learn from them. We must understand their history and why they believe in me. Only then can we find our place here. The Queen extended her hand fully. This time, she invited him to follow her. David looked at his crew. They nodded in support. Together, they took cautious steps toward the Queen. Each movement was deliberate, showing respect and trust. The aliens parted to let them pass, forming a path of light that seemed to guide them. As they moved through the city, David noticed symbols etched into the buildings. The patterns shifted and glowed as they walked past. Mara scanned them with her device. "These are records," she said. "Stories of your coming, and of the one who came before you. They have kept this knowledge for centuries." David felt a sense of awe. Humanity had always imagined the stars as vast and empty. Now, he was walking in a city built for someone like him, a place that had waited for his arrival. The idea was humbling and exhilarating at the same time. The Queen stopped at a large platform at the center of the city. She gestured for David and his crew to step onto it. Light patterns formed beneath their feet, creating a holographic map of the world. Ancient cities, lost technologies, and historical events flashed in the air. It was as if the entire history of the alien civilization was unfolding before them. David looked at the Queen. "I do not understand everything yet," he said. "But I will learn. I will respect your people, and I will try to understand why I am here." The Queen nodded, her eyes soft but filled with expectation. She had knelt, risen partially, and now awaited his choice. David realized that the moment he had feared being placed in a role far beyond his understanding was also the moment that could define humanity's place among the stars. He took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the city, the Queen, and her people surround him. "I will try," he said firmly. "I will search for answers, and I will honor your trust. Whatever this means, I will not turn away." The Queen smiled, and the glow of her skin brightened. She had accepted his promise, and in return, she offered guidance and trust. David understood that the journey ahead would not be easy. He would face trials, mysteries, and challenges beyond imagination. But for the first time, he felt a connection to something greater than himself. He felt a bond between humanity and the stars, between his own people and an alien civilization that had waited patiently for this moment. David walked slowly through the alien city, his crew close behind. The Queen moved beside him, still kneeling partially but guiding their steps. Around them, the city's light patterns shifted with every movement, telling stories of past and present. The air was filled with quiet energy, and every alien they passed looked at David with a mixture of awe and curiosity. At last, they arrived at a grand hall. The ceiling curved high above, shaped like a crystalline dome. Inside, a circle of alien leaders stood in silence, their silver and iridescent forms glowing faintly. These were the Queen's Council, the decision-makers who shaped the fate of the entire civilization. They turned toward David, their eyes sharp and calculating. Unlike the Queen, their expressions carried caution and doubt. The Queen moved to the center and spoke in her melodic tone. The translator hummed, converting her words into something David could understand. "Council, this human has arrived. He is the returned one, as our ancestors foretold. His coming is the promise fulfilled." A tall counselor stepped forward. His skin shimmered in darker silver, and his eyes were narrower, sharper. "My Queen, we respect your wisdom, but this human is unknown. How can we place trust in him? Humans are fragile and untested. He may bring danger to our world." David's heart raced. He had expected curiosity, but not doubt from the leaders themselves. He tried to stay calm. "I understand your concern," he said. "I have no power here beyond what you allow me. I am an explorer and a human. I cannot claim to be a savior or a leader. I can only learn and act with respect for your people." Another counselor spoke, her voice soft but firm. "Our records speak of the returned one, but they also warn of the one who comes with false knowledge. How do we know this is the same as what was promised?" David shook his head slowly. "I cannot claim to be the one you speak of. I have never been here before. I do not know your past. But I am willing to understand, to prove my intentions, and to help in any way I can. That is all I can offer." The Queen's eyes glowed brighter. She lowered herself slightly again, placing her hand on David's shoulder. Your words are true. The one who comes is not a god. He is human. Yet humans have strength beyond expectation. His presence is the bridge we have waited for. The council murmured among themselves. Some bowed slightly to show deference, others remained cautious. The tension was palpable. David realized that while the Queen's faith in him was unshakable, the council needed evidence, proof that humanity could be trusted and respected. One of the counselors stepped forward and gestured toward a large crystal screen. Images appeared, showing the alien world's past, wars, disasters, and periods of great prosperity. These are our trials, the counselor said. Our people have survived through knowledge and courage. If this human is truly the returned one, he must demonstrate his understanding and his strength in our ways. Only then can we accept him fully. David nodded slowly. He had faced dangerous planets, alien life, and unknown landscapes before, but this was different. This was not about survival. This was about trust, respect, and understanding across civilizations. I accept your trials, he said. I will do what is necessary to prove my intentions and to help your people. The Queen smiled, her glow brightening. He speaks with honesty. This is the first sign of recognition. The council continued to discuss among themselves. Some of them still seemed uncertain, but the Queen's faith was strong, and David's words had an impact. After a long pause, the same counselor who had first questioned him spoke again. Very well. If the human wishes to prove himself, he must undertake the trial of proof. It is not a test of strength alone, but of wisdom, courage, and judgment. He must navigate challenges that will show whether he can be trusted with knowledge and guidance. David swallowed hard. I am ready. Tell me what I must do. The counselor motioned toward a large platform. Light patterns formed in the air above it, showing images of alien landscapes, puzzles, and obstacles. The trials are not simple. They are designed to challenge the mind, the heart, and the spirit. The first trial begins immediately. You will be accompanied by guides, but the choices you make must be your own. You may not ask for outside intervention. Are you prepared? David took a deep breath. Yes. I am prepared. The Queen placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Your courage will guide you. Remember that the trial is not just for you. It is for both our worlds. As David stepped onto the platform, the light patterns shifted and formed a path ahead. The first trial awaited him, but before he could move forward, he glanced back at his crew. They nodded, showing unwavering support. Mara whispered, "We believe in you. You can do this." David felt a surge of determination. He had always believed in humanity's potential, in the strength that came from knowledge, curiosity, and compassion. Now, he had a chance to prove it to a civilization that had waited centuries for someone like him. The platform lifted slightly, and the first trial began. The air shimmered, and David found himself in a vast alien landscape, unlike anything he had ever seen. Towering crystal formations reflected light in dazzling patterns, and strange creatures moved silently in the distance. The trial was designed to test his perception and judgment. Every step had to be considered carefully. David moved forward, analyzing the environment. A series of obstacles appeared, a bridge of light over a deep chasm, a puzzle of floating shapes that needed arranging, and a situation where he had to choose whether to save an alien creature or continue on the path. Each decision tested his reasoning, compassion, and courage. He noticed that the alien guides watched silently, only intervening if he made a dangerous mistake. Their presence was reassuring, but they did not make the choices for him. Every correct action reinforced the Queen's belief in him, and every mistake taught him something new about the alien world and its values. After completing the first stage, David paused. He realized that these trials were not just about proving himself. They were teaching him the philosophy, the history, and the priorities of the alien civilization. He began to understand why the Queen had knelt before him. She saw not only his potential but the potential of humanity to bridge worlds and bring understanding where there had been none. When the trial ended, David returned to the council chamber. The council looked at him with new respect, though some still had doubts. The Queen rose fully, signaling her approval. "The returned one has begun the path," she said. "He has shown courage, wisdom, and respect. The trials will continue, but his journey has started in truth." David bowed slightly to the council, acknowledging their authority and their judgment. "I will continue. I will learn and act with integrity. I do not know all the answers, but I will search for them, as I promised." The council murmured among themselves, their expressions softening. Some nodded, others still watched carefully, but one thing was clear: David had begun earning their trust. Humanity had a chance to prove itself, and he would be the one to lead the way. The Queen looked at David, her expression both proud and hopeful. "Your path is only beginning. The world watches, and the future waits. Remember, this is not just your journey. It is the journey of all who follow your example." David took a deep breath and nodded. The trials, the council, and the Queen's expectations were heavy, but he felt ready. He was not just a human explorer anymore. He was a representative of humanity, standing before a civilization that had waited for centuries. And he would not fail. David stepped onto the platform that had appeared in the council chamber. The air shimmered around him, and a soft hum vibrated through the floor. The Queen's eyes glowed with calm reassurance, while the council watched silently, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. David knew that this trial was not just a challenge for him, it was a test for all of humanity. The platform lifted slowly and moved beyond the city, into the vast landscape of Zoroth. The sky above shifted through colors he had never seen, from deep teal to sparkling gold. Crystal towers rose from the ground like natural monuments, reflecting light in dazzling patterns. David could feel the energy of the world all around him, almost as if the planet itself were alive and observing. A soft voice echoed in his mind. It was the translator, translating the alien language directly into thoughts. "The trial of proof begins. You must demonstrate courage, wisdom, and judgment. Each decision will shape your path and reveal your understanding." David took a deep breath and stepped forward. The first obstacle appeared, a chasm that stretched far beyond the horizon. A bridge of light hovered above it, thin and unstable. He knew that one misstep would send him plummeting into the depths. The bridge shimmered, reacting to his hesitation. He focused on his training and instincts. Each step required balance and careful observation. He noticed subtle cues in the light patterns, small shifts in color and movement that indicated the safest path. Moving slowly and deliberately, he crossed the bridge, never looking down. His heart pounded, but he remained calm. At the other side, the light solidified into a platform, signaling that he had passed the first test. As he continued, floating shapes appeared in the air, forming a complex puzzle. The shapes glowed in different colors, rotating and moving in patterns that seemed impossible to predict. David studied them carefully, using logic and observation to arrange the shapes into a sequence that aligned with the energy flow of the world. Each correct placement caused the shapes to resonate, producing a musical tone that echoed through the air. When the final piece clicked into place, the shapes dissolved into streams of light, opening a path forward. The next trial was more personal. A small alien creature appeared, trapped beneath a pile of fallen crystal formations. It looked frightened, and its tiny body trembled. A path forward appeared beyond the creature, leading toward the next stage of the trial. David faced a choice: continue along the path to complete the trial quickly, or stop to rescue the creature, risking failure if he could not reach the end in time. David knelt and carefully lifted the crystals, freeing the creature. It chirped in a musical tone and rubbed against his hand. The path forward expanded, acknowledging his act of compassion. He realized that the trial was not only about intelligence or bravery but also about empathy and respect for life, no matter how small. Further along, David entered a forest of crystalline trees that emitted a soft, soothing hum. Shadows moved between the trunks, forming illusions of past explorers who had failed these trials. They whispered warnings and doubts, attempting to shake his confidence. David remembered the Queen's words, "Your courage will guide you." He focused on his training, his crew, and the responsibility he carried. Step by step, he navigated through the illusions, resisting fear and distraction. Suddenly, he arrived at a vast chamber filled with intricate machinery, glowing panels, and strange symbols. The air was thick with energy, and David could feel his senses heighten. A holographic figure appeared, showing an alien civilization in turmoil. The figure spoke through the translator, "A choice must be made. Will you prioritize knowledge, safety, or freedom? Your decision will determine the outcome of this world." David considered the situation carefully. He knew that knowledge alone without wisdom could be dangerous, and safety without courage could lead to stagnation. Freedom without guidance could create chaos. He decided to prioritize balance, protect the people, preserve knowledge, and maintain their freedom. The machinery responded to his choice, aligning into a pattern of light that symbolized harmony. The final stage of the trial appeared as a vast canyon with a single tree growing in the center. The tree radiated energy, and David felt that it held the answer to the trial's ultimate question. However, approaching the tree was not simple. The canyon walls shifted and moved, creating obstacles that required not just agility but careful planning. David observed the patterns, timing each step perfectly to avoid being trapped or blocked. When he finally reached the tree, he placed his hand on its glowing trunk. A wave of energy passed through him, showing visions of the alien civilization's history, the prophecy of the returned one, and the connection between humans and this world. He realized that the trials had tested not just his body or mind, but his character. Courage, wisdom, empathy, and judgment were all qualities that defined him as a human, and they were qualities that this alien civilization respected and revered. David stepped back from the tree, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. The trial had not been easy, but he had learned more about the alien world, its people, and the responsibility he carried. He understood why the Queen had knelt before him and why the council had been cautious. The trials were designed to reveal character, and in doing so, they revealed the potential of humanity itself. The platform lifted him back to the council chamber. The council and the Queen waited, their eyes bright with anticipation. David bowed slightly, showing respect and acknowledgement of the trial's purpose. The Queen rose fully, her silver skin radiant. "You have completed the first stage of the trial of proof. Your courage, wisdom, and compassion are clear. You have begun to fulfill the promise of the returned one." The council murmured among themselves, some nodding in approval, others still watching carefully. The lead counselor, who had been skeptical before, stepped forward. "You have proven your understanding and your ability to act with integrity. We are beginning to see the truth in the Queen's words. The human is more than we anticipated. His presence brings hope." David felt a sense of humility. "I am honored by your recognition," he said. "I do not yet know all the answers, but I will continue to learn and to act with respect for your people." The Queen placed her hand on his shoulder. "The path is not complete. More trials await, each testing different qualities. But you have shown the strength that will guide both your people and ours." David glanced at his crew. They had watched him closely during the trial, offering support and encouragement. He knew that they were part of this journey as well, representing humanity's curiosity, intelligence, and determination. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, learning and growing alongside the alien civilization. As the council dispersed, the Queen lingered, her gaze full of trust and expectation. "You have begun to understand," she said softly. But remember, the trials are more than challenges. They are lessons. Every choice you make, every action you take, will shape the future of both worlds. David nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, but it was not a burden. It was a call to action, a chance to prove the potential of humanity and to honor the trust placed in him. He would continue the trials, not just for himself, but for the crew, for humanity, and for the civilization that had awaited this moment for centuries. David walked through the luminous halls of the alien city, following the Queen. The light from the walls shifted in soft patterns, guiding their steps. The council had allowed him a brief rest after the first trial, but his mind was alive with questions. Every choice he had made during the trial of proof had seemed to resonate with the city itself, as if the planet had approved his actions. Now, he was about to discover why. The Queen led him to a grand chamber, its ceiling stretching high above like a dome of glass and crystal. The walls were covered in intricate carvings and glowing symbols. When David stepped closer, the symbols began to move, forming images and scenes from a long time ago. The translator hummed softly, converting the alien language into understandable words. "This is the Chamber of Memory," the Queen explained. "Here, we keep the records of our civilization. The events, the teachings, and the prophecies of those who came before are preserved for those who are ready to understand." David felt a shiver of anticipation. "Ready to understand what?" he asked. The Queen gestured toward a large, glowing panel in the center. The symbols shifted into the image of a human figure, tall and strong, walking among the aliens. The scene was ancient, but clear. The human wore simple clothing, not unlike David's own, and he carried objects that looked like tools and books. The aliens around him bowed, offered gifts, and followed his guidance with trust and admiration. David's heart raced. This is a human? How is this possible?" The Queen nodded. "Long ago, one like you came to our people. He was not a god, nor a ruler. He was human. He brought knowledge, hope, and guidance. He helped our civilization grow and survive. He promised to return in a future time of need." David stared at the image, feeling a strange connection. He did not remember this man, yet something deep inside him resonated with the vision. He felt the pull of familiarity, a sensation that was difficult to describe. Mara stepped forward, her eyes wide. "David, the records suggest that humans visited this world centuries ago. Perhaps earlier humans, lost travelers from another time. This may explain why they recognize you as the returned one." David nodded slowly. "But I am not that person. I have never been here. I have not lived these events. How can they see me as the same?" The Queen's eyes glowed softly. "It is not the same body that matters. It is the essence of humanity, the courage, the intelligence, and the compassion. When one human came, they left a mark on our civilization. Your presence carries that mark as well. The returned one is not only the figure of the past but the potential of humanity itself." David felt a mixture of awe and humility. Humanity had always dreamed of reaching the stars, but he had never imagined that one day, a human could hold such importance for an entire civilization. The realization strengthened his determination. The symbols on the walls shifted again, showing the challenges that the first human had faced. There were images of dangerous landscapes, alien creatures, and moral dilemmas. Yet, every time, the human made choices guided by reason and compassion. The aliens followed, learning and thriving under his guidance. David looked at the Queen. They trusted him. They believed in him. And now they are placing the same trust in me. That is extraordinary." The Queen nodded. "Yes. But you must understand that trust is not given lightly. It is earned, and it must be honored. The trials are designed to reveal whether you can bear this responsibility, just as he did." David moved closer to the glowing panel, examining the scenes in detail. He saw a moment where the ancient human had intervened to prevent a disaster, a collapse of one of the alien cities. He had used intelligence, courage, and creativity to save countless lives. Another scene showed him making a difficult moral decision, choosing to protect knowledge even when it meant personal risk. David realized that the trials he had faced earlier were designed not only to test him but to echo the experiences of this past human. The lessons of courage, wisdom, and compassion had been passed down through the centuries, preserved in memory and ritual. He turned to the Queen. "I understand now. The trials are not just about proving myself. They are about learning, about understanding the values that made your civilization strong. They teach me how to honor the trust you place in me." The Queen smiled, her glow soft and reassuring. "Yes. And now, you will begin to uncover more of your connection to our past. You will see the choices, the mistakes, and the triumphs of the one who came before. Each memory will guide you as you continue your journey." David felt a sense of wonder. He had always believed that humanity could achieve greatness, but this was beyond imagination. The ancient human had shown that even one person could make a difference, that knowledge and compassion could shape the destiny of an entire civilization. And now, David had the chance to continue that legacy. The Queen led him to another section of the chamber. Here, the symbols showed maps of the world, ancient technologies, and records of interactions between humans and aliens. David noticed diagrams of starships, energy devices, and communication tools. These were not just historical records, they were guides, instructions left by the first human to ensure that future humans could understand and navigate this world. Mara examined the diagrams with him. "David, these technologies are incredible. They combine science and philosophy in a way that shows deep understanding. If humanity can learn even a fraction of this knowledge, it could change our place in the galaxy." David nodded. "I will study these carefully. Every piece of knowledge, every memory, is a chance to honor what came before and to build a future that respects both our worlds." The Queen watched him closely. Remember, the ancient human did not act alone. He inspired cooperation, respect, and growth. That is the lesson you must carry forward. You are not only a human, you are a symbol of humanity's potential to connect, to inspire, and to protect. David felt a surge of purpose. He had begun as an explorer, uncertain and cautious. Now, he understood that his journey was part of something larger, a legacy of knowledge, courage, and compassion that linked humans and this alien civilization across time. He stepped back from the glowing panel, taking in the full scope of the chamber. The memories of the past human filled him with hope, inspiration, and determination. He knew that the trials ahead would be difficult, but he also knew that he carried within him the essence of humanity, the ability to learn, adapt, and make choices guided by reason and compassion. The Queen's voice echoed softly. "The past has prepared you. The present tests you. The future awaits your guidance. Remember what you have learned, and continue your path with courage and wisdom." David bowed respectfully. "I will. I will honor your people, the lessons of the past, and the trust you place in me. I will continue to learn and to act with integrity." The Queen's glow brightened, and for a moment, the chamber seemed to shimmer with energy and life. David felt connected not only to the ancient human but to the civilization itself. He understood that his journey was more than exploration. It was a bridge between worlds, a continuation of a legacy, and a chance to show that humanity could rise to greatness among the stars. David returned from the chamber of memory with a renewed sense of purpose. The lessons of the past human, the ancient memories, and the trust placed in him by the alien queen had strengthened his resolve. Yet, he sensed that his journey was far from over. As he walked through the city with the Queen, the soft hum of energy beneath his feet carried a different tone, one of tension. Something was stirring beyond the city walls. The Queen led him to a high balcony overlooking the surrounding lands. Beyond the glowing towers and crystalline streets, David could see dark shapes moving in the distance. At first, they appeared like shadows against the shimmering landscape. As they drew closer, he realized that they were ships, sleek, angular, and moving with deliberate speed toward the city. "What is that?" David asked, his voice steady but alert. The Queen's eyes narrowed. "It is a rival faction of our civilization. They do not accept the return of the one foretold. They believe humans are dangerous and unworthy of recognition. They have prepared for war." David felt a chill run down his spine. He had faced dangers on alien worlds before, but this was different. This was not just a natural hazard or unknown creatures. This was an intelligent force, opposed to everything the Queen and her loyalists represented. "Can we stop them?" he asked. The Queen looked at him with calm determination. "We can, but it will require unity. You will play a role, David. Your guidance and leadership may tip the balance. But you must act carefully. The enemy is powerful and strategic." David turned to his crew. "We have trained for difficult situations. We will help however we can. But remember, this is not just about fighting. We must protect innocent lives, preserve knowledge, and maintain the trust we have earned." Rena, the engineer, nodded. "We can assist with technology and strategy. The aliens may have advanced systems, but we can offer new perspectives." Mara added, "And we can communicate with their people, show them that humans are allies, not enemies. That may sway those who are uncertain." The Queen guided David and his crew to the city's central command chamber. Panels of light displayed the incoming ships, their numbers, and movement patterns. The city's defenders were prepared, but the enemy's speed and coordination were concerning. David studied the information carefully, noting patterns and weaknesses. "This faction believes humans cannot understand their ways," he said. "But they underestimate our ability to adapt and strategize. If we combine our knowledge with their systems, we can counter the attack." The Queen nodded. "Then you will lead the first maneuver. Your insight will guide us." David's heart beat faster. He had never commanded an alien fleet before, yet he felt the weight of responsibility. He focused on what he had learned from the trials and the chamber of memory: patience, observation, and strategic thinking. These were human strengths, and now he would put them to use. He coordinated with the city's defense systems, integrating human tactics with alien technology. Using predictive modeling, he identified the points where the enemy would strike first and suggested ways to redirect their attacks. The aliens executed his guidance with precision, adjusting formations and energy shields in real time. As the enemy ships approached, David noticed their pattern was not random. They were testing the city's defenses, probing for weaknesses. He instructed the defenders to hold certain positions, baiting the enemy into overextending. When the enemy committed to the maneuver, David guided the city's energy systems to create barriers and traps that slowed their advance. The first wave of ships faltered, giving the city's defenders a crucial advantage. David watched as his strategy unfolded. Every decision required quick thinking, confidence, and coordination. He felt the pressure, but he also felt the determination that had carried humanity through countless challenges. The enemy regrouped, launching a second wave with more intensity. David observed carefully, noting differences in their strategy. "They are adapting," he said. "We must adapt faster. Use the high-energy fields to create a corridor, forcing them into a bottleneck. Then focus the shields and energy beams at the narrow points." The alien commanders followed his instructions, and the second wave was slowed. Several enemy ships were forced to retreat, while others were neutralized without significant damage to the city. David realized that this was more than a battle. It was a demonstration of cooperation, trust, and ingenuity. Humans and aliens working together could overcome even a powerful foe. The Queen approached David during a brief pause in the conflict. "Your guidance has turned the tide. The enemy will retreat if we maintain our strategy. You have shown that humans are capable of leadership and insight. This is more than skill, it is the essence of what your people can offer. David nodded. I am not alone. My crew and your people have worked together. That is the strength. No one stands alone in this fight. That is the lesson of the trials, and the lesson of your history. The enemy launched a final, desperate attack. David focused intently, guiding defenses and coordinating movements with precision. The enemy underestimated the combination of human strategy and alien technology. The final wave was repelled, and the attacking ships retreated beyond the horizon. A cheer rose from the city, though controlled and dignified. The alien citizens had witnessed the battle and saw that the human had contributed not only ideas but leadership, courage, and judgment. David felt a sense of relief but also humility. The victory was not his alone. It belonged to everyone who had acted with integrity and intelligence. The Queen moved beside him, her eyes full of pride. You have shown courage and wisdom in the face of danger. The trials prepared you, but this was a true test. Your actions have proven that humanity can be trusted and respected. You are not only the returned one but a bridge between our worlds. David bowed respectfully. I have only done what I could with the trust and guidance I was given. This victory belongs to all of us humans and aliens alike. The council members who had been skeptical now approached him. Their expressions were softer, more accepting. One of the lead counselors said, "We doubted at first. But your decisions, your courage, and your insight have shown us that humans are capable of great things. You honor the prophecy not just in name but in action." David felt a surge of humility and responsibility. Humanity had always reached for the stars, and now he realized that it was not only about exploration. It was about cooperation, understanding, and the ability to act with wisdom and compassion. This was what the aliens had seen in the ancient human, and now they had seen it in him. The Queen led David to a quiet terrace overlooking the city. The twin suns were beginning to set, casting long reflections on the crystalline towers. The threat is gone for now, she said softly. But there are greater challenges ahead. You must continue the trials, uncover more of our history, and guide us in ways you cannot yet imagine. David nodded, watching the city glow in peaceful harmony. I am ready. The trials, the history, the responsibilities, they are not easy. But I will continue. Humanity has always risen to challenges, and I will do my best to honor that strength. The Queen placed her hand on his shoulder, her silver glow warm and reassuring. You are not alone. We will stand with you. Together, we will ensure that both our worlds prosper and that the trust placed in you endures. David looked out at the city, feeling a sense of purpose and determination. The rising threat had tested him, his decisions, and his ability to lead. He had learned that true strength came not from power alone but from cooperation, empathy, and wisdom. Humanity had a place among the stars, and he had begun to prove it. As the night settled over the city, David prepared for the next stage of his journey. The trials were not over, and the mysteries of the alien civilization still awaited him. But he felt confident that, with courage, wisdom, and compassion, he could face whatever challenges lay ahead. David stood at the center of the city, the twin suns casting warm reflections on the crystalline towers. The battle with the rival faction had ended, but the challenges were not over. The chamber of memory, the trials, and the rising threat had all prepared him for this moment. It was time to take the next step not as an explorer, but as a bridge between humanity and the alien civilization. The Queen knelt before him once again, her silver glow radiating trust and reverence. You have proven yourself through trials and challenges, she said. Now, the path forward is yours to shape. You must help unite our people and ensure that our knowledge and your world can prosper together. David felt a deep sense of responsibility. He bowed slightly in respect. I will do my best. I do not claim to know everything, but I will act with wisdom, courage, and care for both our people." The council gathered around, their skepticism replaced by cautious trust. One of the counselors spoke first. "The trials and the defense have shown us that humans are not only capable of understanding our ways but can also guide us through challenges with insight." "We will follow your guidance," returned one, "if you continue to act with respect and wisdom." David nodded, feeling the weight of his role. He knew that the future depended not on one person alone, but on collaboration. He began by speaking to the council and the gathered citizens. "I have seen your history, your struggles, and your triumphs. I have learned from your past and from the trials designed to test me. Humanity can offer knowledge, creativity, and partnership. Together, we can build a stronger world, united across species, across planets, and across time." The crowd listened silently, but the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The Queen's glow brightened as she watched David, sensing the sincerity and resolve in his words. To demonstrate the bridge between worlds, David suggested a shared project. "Your energy systems, your knowledge of crystal technology, and your understanding of your planet are extraordinary. We can combine these with human technology, exploration methods, and problem-solving approaches to create something new, an archive of knowledge that preserves both our civilizations and allows future generations to learn from each other." Mara and Rena supported him, explaining how human systems could complement alien technology. Holographic displays showed potential designs for energy networks, communication systems, and educational hubs. The council members examined the proposals carefully. Their initial doubt began to transform into cautious optimism. One counselor, still reserved, asked, "How can we ensure that humans will not misuse this knowledge? How can we trust your people with our most valuable resources?" David met the counselor's gaze firmly. "Trust is built through action. I have faced your trials, guided your defenses, and learned from your history. We will continue to act with respect, and our actions will prove our intentions. This project is not just about technology, it is about cooperation, transparency, and mutual respect. That is the foundation of trust." The council murmured, and the Queen spoke softly. "The one who came before you acted with integrity, and his influence shaped our civilization. You carry the same essence, human. The city, the people, and the trials have tested and guided you. Now, it is time to act in unity." With the council's tentative approval, David and his crew began working alongside the alien scientists, engineers, and historians. They combined knowledge of energy, technology, and history to create an archive that could store centuries of data from both civilizations. The holographic systems displayed not only scientific information but also stories, cultural knowledge, and lessons learned from past trials and experiences. As they worked, David noticed a change in the citizens. Where once there had been doubt or fear about humans, there was now curiosity and respect. Children watched in awe as human and alien engineers collaborated. Scholars exchanged ideas freely. Even the previously skeptical counselors observed with interest, slowly seeing the potential of unity. One evening, David stood with the Queen on a balcony overlooking the city. "I never imagined humans could have such an impact here," he said quietly. "I thought our role would be limited to observation, but now I see we can inspire and help in meaningful ways." The Queen smiled, her eyes reflecting the glow of the city below. "Your presence has reminded us of what is possible. You have shown courage, wisdom, and compassion. That is the essence of humanity, and it is why you were recognized as the returned one. Your actions today ensure that our worlds are connected, not just through technology, but through understanding and trust." David felt a sense of fulfillment. All the trials, the battles, and the lessons had led to this moment. Humanity was no longer a distant observer. They were partners, respected and trusted, capable of contributing to the growth and prosperity of another civilization. The final act of the unification was a ceremony in the central plaza of the city. Citizens and council members gathered, the Queen at the center, kneeling before David one last time. "You have honored the trust placed in you," she said. "You are the bridge between worlds. Let your guidance inspire us to build a future together." David addressed the crowd. "This is not about one person. It is about what humans and aliens can achieve together. We share knowledge, respect, and responsibility. Together, we can overcome challenges, preserve our histories, and create a future that benefits all." The crowd erupted in applause and acknowledgement. Even the skeptics showed respect. The aliens lifted David in a gesture of honor, acknowledging him not as a ruler, but as a representative of humanity, a symbol of cooperation and unity. As the twin suns set, the city glowed with energy and life, reflecting the collaboration and trust between humans and aliens. David looked at his crew, at the Queen, and at the citizens. They had all taken steps forward together, learning from the past and building toward the future. Mara smiled at him. "You did it, David. You honored what they believed in, and what humanity can be." David nodded. "We all did it. This is just the beginning. There are still mysteries to uncover, challenges to face, and lessons to learn. But now, we have the foundation to do it together." The Queen rose fully, her glow blending with the setting suns. "The returned one has fulfilled the prophecy, not through power alone, but through wisdom, courage, and compassion. You have proven that humanity is ready to walk among the stars, not as conquerors, but as allies and partners." David felt a profound sense of purpose. He had arrived uncertain and cautious, but he would leave a symbol of hope and unity. Humanity had the potential to shape the galaxy, not through domination, but through knowledge, cooperation, and understanding. As the stars began to appear in the alien sky, David looked ahead. The trials were complete, the enemies defeated, and the bond between worlds established. Yet, the adventure of exploration and discovery would continue. Humanity and this alien civilization were now connected, their destinies intertwined, ready to face the future together. David took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility and the pride of accomplishment. He had been tested, guided, and recognized. Now, he would continue to honor that trust, ensuring that the bridge between worlds remained strong, and that humanity's light shone brightly among the stars.